Yes, my dear students, can you hear me?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
but
sir.
very slowly.
Very slowly. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, now I would like to just start the class. We started our class, the environmental factors, effect of environmental factors. Probably you can remember. So the environmental factors, we talked about the light, effect of light, effect of moistures, and effect of temperatures. Now I'm moving to some other factors which also influences the life of insect. Effect of wind and air current, the wind and air current can influence the life of insects. So how does it cause? A strong air current is an important factor for insects. Insects usually move from one place to another place, but sometimes what happens, the insects do not start its flight when the air current is too strong, that is, it is the beyond its the flight range, then they don't. Hello?
অর্ধেক ইয়ার থেকে দেবো টাকার আর বাকিটুকু ওনার জায়গা ছেড়ে দেবো ঠিক আছে
Hello? So most of the insects will not take flight when the speed of wind exceeds the normal flight speed. So that is important. They stay somewhere. But what can happen? Some small insects like the aphids, white flies, scale insects, they are taken when the strong wind comes. These small insects, they usually cannot move too far, but the air can take from one place to another place. So the dispersal of insects will occur when this air current, that is the strong air, works. So in these situations, we can say that the air movement may be directly responsible for the death of insects. How? Insects' death can occur due to the movement of the air. Severe wind coupled with heavy rain. Sometimes wind is coupled with rain. And that situations, what happened? The mortality, the insects, many of the insects may die. So insects are taken from one place to another place with this current, air current. But during this period, many of the insects, soft-bodied insects, may lose their wings. Some of the insects may get injured. So as a result, there might be also evaporations from the body surface. Lot of moisture may be evaporated. As a result, the insects may not survive or may suffer a lot. Okay, so the air current is a factor, that is non-living factors. That non-living factors can cause this type of problem to the insects. Now, coming to another factors. So it's not difficult to remember. So how does air influence the body or influence the life of insects? Now come to the another factor is soil. The soil, insects, some of the insects like sandy soil, some insects like loamy soil, some insects can live in the clay soil, but usually the insects, loamy soils allow the insects for digging, burrowing operations, and this particular type of soils are usually favorable for insects. The soil, sandy loam, loamy soils, the clay soils, different types of soil textures you have studied. So we can say that loamy soil is favorable for most of the insects. I would like to give you one example, that is Agrotis you know, cartworm. That cartworm prefers to live in soil which is fairly light textures, in which they move around freely in response to the change of environmental temperature, in response to the change, moisture change. So they live in fairly light soil. Cartworm, one of the example is light soil is a preferred place. Now come to the factor. This factor is not non-living factors. I would like to talk about the living factors. In the environment, I told you there are living factors and non-living factors. In the living factors, one of the important living factor is the food. For example, insects live in the ecosystems and they are taking many of the foods. So under normal conditions, if you look at this, the normal conditions, the insect, there is an happy adjustment. The happy adjustments between the host and particular insect species. Host means a rice insects for a grasshoppers. A host is rice plant is the rice plant is a host. Grasshopper is an insect. They have got the happy adjustments. But in certain situations, something might happen. When the food is short, the insects may not survive. When the food is not available, insect may not stay there. So this is very important. So insect species has certain nutritional requirements for completion of its life cycle. So if the food is around, then they will complete its life cycle smoothly. If the food is not around, there will be a problem for them. So sometimes they may not also survive. So if the food is not available, they will move from one place to another place. So in these situations, in this way, we can say that food is very important for insects to build its populations or to just leave the place. One of the important sudden increase or sudden decrease of populations may occur. The densities of populations become too high when the food is available. So the food is available, the insects may multiply rapidly and the density of the population will be increased quickly. It's all right. But how far or how long it will continue? There will be competition for food because the population, the large number of insects are there due to the multiplications. So they need food for their survival. So the food, there might be again the competitions for food. So this competition of food as well will, uh, this competitions for food as well as the space will be there. So two types of competition, one will be for space, another will be for food. So these situations may also affect the life of insects. When the food is again in scarcity, the insect survival will be affected and insect's life will be affected. So we would like to say here, food is very important factors. When they have foods, they just multiply, they'll complete their life cycles. When the food is short, they cannot complete their life cycles. The insects either migrate or they may die. So in this way, the population fluctuation of particular insect species may occur in particular area. So now I would like to go to, this is the food is one of the factor A. Number two is the other organisms. So these are living organisms. I am talking about how do the living organisms in nature affect the life of insects. Food definitely affects. We also take food. So if the food is not available, we suffer a lot. So food shortage can also cause the death of us. So the same thing can happen to insects. Now come to the other factors, other organisms. What is other organisms? Other organisms in natures, there are not only insects, not only other insects are not only these species in the fields. There are many other insects. Insects will have to interact with the others. So that interaction is ecology. What is ecology? I told you the interactions with the environmental factor is the ecology. So insects interact with environmental non-living factors as well as the interact with the living factors. Okay. So nutritional requirement, if we see the insects, we can categorize that they are our insects, they are called omnivorous. There are insects called carnivorous, herbivorous. You know the meaning. Omnivorous means insects can live on animal food or there is both animals and plants. Any type of food it can consume. It is called omnivorous. Omnivorous, we can give an example, cockroach. Cockroach is an omnivorous insect. Carnivorous, you know, this is an insect, it feeds on the other animals. That is, it lives on animals, animal food, carnivorous. So there are carnivorous insects. So insects will not take plant as a food. It will survive on other animals. Other insects can also be food for these ones. So it is called carnivorous. And another one is the herbivorous. Herbivorous is one which is which lives on the plant food. So herbivorous feeds on living plants. So omnivorous, carnivorous, herbivorous. Herbivorous insect is because we are the student of agriculture, you are student of agriculture, mainly we are talking about the insects which are pest of our crops, the plants. So the plant feeders we would like to again divide into three groups. You can see one A, B, C, polyphagous, monophagous, oligophagous. What is polyphagous? Polyphagous feeds on a wide range of cultivated and wild plants. Polyphagous. Poly, that is not only it is not dependent on one particular food or one particular species of plant is the food. It can survive on many of the plant species. So that is called polyphagous. One of the insect you have heard the name, that is locust, pongopal. Pongopal can survive on many of the plants. Many of the plants are food of the pongopal or locust. So we can say that is a polyphagous insect. Cartworm. Cartworm is a polyphagous insect. You will see many of the insects, it can survive. Jute hairy caterpillar. It is a pest of jute, but it can also survive on cotton, it can survive on muskala, it can survive on many other plants. So we can say it is a polyphagous pest. What is monophagous? Just the opposite to polyphagous. Monophagous, it is the only single species of plant is the food. Single species. It survives on only one species of the plants. For example, rice stem borer. Rice stem borer, yellow stem borer of rice, Syrphophaga incertulus. That stem borer needs rice plants for its survival, for its development, for its multiplications. So they will take food from only the rice plant. So it is called monophagous. And oligophagous is a group or is an insect which feed on plants of one botanical family. Botanical, so it can survive. For example, an insect, I'm talking about cabbage butterfly. The cabbage butterfly not only takes food from the cabbage, it can survive on cauliflower, it can survive on radish, it can survive on other cruciferous plants. So this type of insect is called oligophagous. Polyphagous, monophagous, oligophagous, all these are the herbivorous insects. We can divide them like this. Now come to the
Sir, oligophagous insectum নামটা
oligophagous insects, cabbage butterfly.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Cabbage butterfly. Cabbage butterfly can survive on many plants, but the plants belong to the same botanical family. This type of, there might be examples of other insects. So this, remember only one here. So association of, now we would like to see how do they interact, the insect interact with the other species, other in nature. Other is living species. We are talking about biotic factor now, not abiotic factor. Living factors, what are the living factors? If you remember, there might be large organisms, there might be small organisms. They may have some influence on the insect life. So one of the interaction is the beneficial interactions, beneficial associations. That is, one is helpful to the others. We have heard the name symbiosis. What is symbiosis? It is the interrelationship between the organisms of different species which live in close union with beneficial effect. So they live in close union with beneficial effects. This type of association is called symbiosis. Each member is called a symbiont. That is, two species, they live in close associations, both of them are benefited. This type of association is called symbiosis. This symbiosis also is present in insects community or insects life. Example, ant and aphid. Ant is an insect, aphid is an insect. They live in close association. They have got a relationship, symbiotic relationship. What a symbiotic relationship? One helps the others. The aphid produces honeydew. It takes food from the plant, and the food is changed. After some changes, physiological changes, the food is transformed into a honeydew-like substance. That honeydew is secreted by the aphid. When the honeydew is secreted by the aphids, the ants take this honeydew as food. This is called the symbiosis. And the ant is getting benefits, but what benefit the aphids are getting from the ant? And sometimes when the food shortage occurs, aphids cannot fly too far. Its wings are not well developed. Sometimes they don't have wings, but the food is also short. The ants can carry the aphids on its back to healthy plants. From the plants which are already used up plants, the aphids will be carried by the ants to a healthy plants. So again, the aphid will start taking its food from the healthy plants. So this is one is helping the other situation. This type of situation or the interaction is called symbiosis. So this is called beneficial association. There are some harmful association also. What is commensalism? Commensalism is one is benefited by living on or inside the another insects, so without injuring the others. Both are not benefited here. One is benefited, the other is the host, but that host is not affected. This type of relationship is called commensalism. The commensalism, for example, gall forming insect, gall, an insect, gall insect we call it. That gall insect lives on the plant. The plant produces a gall. The insect lives in that gall. Insects cannot cause damage to that plant, or this is the called the association is called commensalism. Sometimes the insects are carried host, that is the when the commensal one organism, one lives on others, uses its host as a means of transport. The phenomenon is termed as foracy. The foracy is a term. The commensal uses the host for its transport, not for its shelter. Sometimes it moves from one place to another place with the help of others. So this is called the foracy, the relationship beneficial association. So what is there any harmful association in nature? Can one be harmed by others? one can be benefited. We have seen these two, symbiosis and commensalism. The other can be harmful, the harmful associations. There are some porojivi or porovhoji, that is parasites, predators. Okay, parasites, predators, we know what is a parasites. Can you define a parasite? Parasite. Parasite in Bangla we call it porojivi. So parasite is an organism which lives on other organisms for its food and shelter. So it will not survive without the host, other organisms. That is called parasite. মাথার উকুন, আমাদের মাথায় অনেকের মাথায় উকুন থাকতে পারে, that ukun is a parasite. That ukun will not survive if you bring that louse from your head and leave it on the plant. The louse will not survive. So it will survive on our head, on our body. So that is a parasite. But what is the ukun is doing? Ukun is taking food to our body. So taking shelter our body. This is parasite. So parasitization, if we say, this is a phenomenon of obtaining nourishment at the expense of a host to which the parasite is attached. At the expense of our food materials from our head, the parasite ukun is taking food. So this is the nourishment it is getting from our head. So this is called parasitizations. আমাদের পেটের মধ্যে there might be a lot of cremies, worms. These worms are living inside our stomach or tummy or intestines. These worms are taking food, and as a result it is surviving, but it is doing some damage to our body. So this is called parasitizations. So it lives inside or outside the body of other organisms, takes shelters and food from that organism. It is parasitization. And parasite is the organism which lives on the others. What is parasitoid? Is a similar term, but the difference between these two, parasitoid is one, it is a parasite. Parasitoid is a parasite also. But in course of the development, it will develop inside the body of the host. Its offspring will be developed inside the body of the host. But the host will not be killed as a result of just food consumptions by the parasite. This type of parasite is called parasitoid. And what will happen? The parasitoid will be able to kill the host. So difference between parasite and parasitoid is, parasite, all the parasitoids are parasites, but all the parasites are not parasitoid. Mode of action, that is, they will take food from the host, they will survive on the host, but the parasite may not be able to kill the host. Parasitoid has the ability to kill the host. It usually kills the host. In course of its development, the host individual will be killed. তাহলে আমরা কি পেলাম এখানে? Parasite and parasitoids. Insects have some parasites. Insects have some parasitoids. So যখন এই parasites and parasitoids attack the insects, what can happen? The insect's body will be affected. There will be a problem in their survival. There will be a problem in their reproductions. If it is a parasitoid, then the insects may not survive also. So parasitoid can kill our pest insects. So that's why we can use this parasitoid as a biological control agent. So parasitoid can be used as a biocontrol agent. We can kill the insects by pesticides, by other means, but by using parasitoids, we can reduce the population, harmful populations. Parasitoid. What is predation?
স্যার ওই যে হোস্টের ভেতরে অফস্প্রিংটা ডেভেলপ হয় বিষয়টা বুঝতে পারিনি, প্যারাসিটয়েড।
Hello? Can you say it again?
স্যার প্যারাসিটয়েডে যে বলা হলো ওই হোস্টের ভেতরে অফস্প্রিংটা ডেভেলপ হয়, ওই বিষয়টা স্যার বুঝতে পারিনি।
Yes, offspring, parasitoid, definitely it needs its host for its survival, for its multiplications. Host ছাড়া প্যারাসিটয়েডই হোক আর প্যারাসাইটই হোক বাঁচবে না। তাহলে ওই হোস্টটাকে হোস্ট যে কেউ হতে পারে, যেমন আমার পেটের মধ্যে কৃমি আছে, আমি ওই কৃমির জন্য আমি হোস্ট। তাহলে আমার পেটের মধ্যে কৃমি বেঁচে আছে, সে মাল্টিপ্লাই করে আবার কৃমির জন্ম দিচ্ছে, সেটি হলো মানুষের পেটের মধ্যে কৃমি। মানুষ হলো হোস্ট, কৃমি ইজ এ প্যারাসাইট। প্যারাসিটয়েড যদি এমন হয় যে কৃমি যদি একটা প্যারাসিটয়েড, তাহলে প্যারাসিটয়েড ওই হোস্টের মধ্যে বাস করবে, সে তার বাচ্চা দিবে, ওই বাচ্চা হোস্টকে খেতে খেতে এমন করে ফেলবে হোস্টকে মেরেই ফেলবে। তারপরে ওই কৃমি বেরিয়ে আসবে, বেরিয়ে এসে সে আবার আরেকজনকে অ্যাটাক করবে, তখন সেটাকে বলবে প্যারাসিটয়েড। ইনসেক্টের ক্ষেত্রে এরকম আছে যে একটা হোস্টের মধ্যে যখন সে প্যারাসিটয়েড ডেভেলপ হতে পারে, তার অফস্প্রিং ডেভেলপ হতে থাকে, এট দি এন্ড the host will be killed and the parasitoid adult will be emerged. That is, after completion of its immature stage in the host, it will be developed into adult. The adult will emerge and the adult will not be dependent on that host on which it developed. It will go to the new host. It will lay its eggs or it will produce its offspring in another host. And that offspring will again consume the host body. As a result, the host will be killed and the new parasitoid will be developed, and the adult parasitoid is not dependent on the host. So adults are not dependent on the host, that is parasitoid, but the immatures are dependent on the host and immatures will kill the host. So in this way, if we have the insect, which is a pest, harmful insects, and if we know that harmful insect has a parasite or parasitoid, that parasitoid can be applied or can be used against that harmful insects to kill that. So the
ওই কি বলে ওই প্যারাসিটয়েড যখন ইম্যাচিউর ছিল তখন হোস্টকে কিল করে ফেলতে পারে, যখন অ্যাডাল্ট হয়ে গেল বেরিয়ে যদি আবার অন্য কোনো হোস্টকে অ্যাটাক করে তখন কি এটা প্যারাসাইট?
কোনো হোস্টকে যখন অ্যাটাক করবে
তখন কি এটাকে প্যারাসাইট বলবো আর প্যারাসিটয়েড বলবো না?
আমি বলছি
সব প্যারাসিটয়েডই তো প্যারাসাইট।
একটুখানি আমার কানেকশন। যখন অন্য হোস্টকে অ্যাটাক করবে তখন কি এটা প্যারাসিটয়েড বলবো কিনা, তাই?
জি স্যার।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, অন্য হোস্টকে যখন অ্যাটাক করবে, অ্যাটাক করার পরে সে কি করবে, সে কিন্তু ওই ডিম দিল যে তার অফস্প্রিং with the intention that her offspring will be developed in the host. She will not stay over there. She has just laid her egg in the host body, and her eggs will be developed into immatures, and that immature will consume the food from the host. She is not over there. She already left after laying her eggs. She knows that that is the host her offspring will take from the host. Offspring will survive on it. Offspring will be developed, but in course of the development of the offsprings, the host will not be able to survive, but the completion, the offspring will be able to complete its immature stage. It will be developed into adult. পরিষ্কার হয়েছে? সে নিজে অ্যাডাল্ট হবে ওই বাচ্চাগুলো ওখান থেকে খেয়ে, মানে অ্যাডাল্ট হওয়ার সময় ওই হোস্টটা আর বাঁচবে না। কিন্তু অ্যাডাল্ট হয়ে যখন সে মা হয়ে গেল, সে কিন্তু আবার চলে গিয়ে আবার নতুন হোস্ট খুঁজে বের করবে, বের করে সেখানে আবার ডিম দেবে। তার একটাই ইন্টেনশন যে তার নতুন অফস্প্রিং তৈরি করতে হবে, এবং সে অফস্প্রিং হলো প্যারাসাইট, আর অন্যের উপরে খেয়ে বেঁচে তার অফস্প্রিং বাঁচবে, বড় হবে। That type of parasite is called parasitoid. That is
এরকম সিচুয়েশনের একটা এক্সাম্পল,
but the adult is not parasitic. Adult is free living. হ্যাঁ
স্যার এরকম সিচুয়েশনের একটা
example I'm giving. হ্যাঁ এক্সাম্পল, ফর এক্সাম্পল রাইস স্টেম বোরার এর এগের একটা প্যারাসিটয়েড আছে, রাইস স্টেম বোরার। এটা হলো টেলেনোমাস টেট্রাস্টিকাস, টেলেনোমাস শোয়েনিবি। Two examples I'm giving. Telenomas. Trichogama is a parasitoid. Trichogama chironis. Parasitoids are brinjal shoot and food borers. So what happens, this particular parasitoid lay eggs inside the egg of rice stem borer. রাইস স্টেম বোরারের এগ পেড়েছে, রাইস স্টেম বোরারের লার্ভা ডেভেলপ হবে ওখান থেকে। রাইস স্টেম বোরারের ইন্টেনশন তার অফস্প্রিং ডেভেলপ করার জন্য, কিন্তু এই প্যারাসিটয়েড টেলেনোমাস গিয়ে ওই রাইস স্টেম বোরারের এগের মধ্যে ডিম দিয়ে দেয়। তাহলে কি হলো, কি এগের মধ্যে আবার এগ, এই প্যারাসিটয়েড এগ ওখানে ডিম দিয়ে দিল, রাইস স্টেম বোরার এগ। রাইস স্টেম বোরার এগ ইজ সাপোজ টু ডেভেলপ ইনটু রাইস স্টেম বোরার লার্ভা, কিন্তু সেটি হবে না, না হয়ে হবে কি, সেটা ওইখানে আরেকটা ডিম দিয়ে দিছে, ওই স্টেম বোরারের এগের মধ্যে আরেকটা প্যারাসিটয়েড এসে ডিম দিয়ে দিছে, with the intention that this egg will be host for her offspring. তখন সেই প্যারাসিটয়েডের এগটা এই রাইস স্টেম বোরার এগের মধ্যে খেয়ে বড় হইতে থাকবে, খেয়ে 3-4 দিন 5 দিন পরে দেখা যাবে যে ওখানে স্টেম বোরারের এগ থেকে স্টেম বোরার না বেরিয়ে বের হচ্ছে একটা প্যারাসিটয়েড। এটা হলো রাইস ফিল্ডে বা অন্যান্য ফিল্ডে আমরা অনেক প্যারাসিটয়েড আছে, there are hundreds of parasitoid in natures, and these parasitoids are helping us a lot to reduce the population of harmful insects in the field. So that's why you will learn a lot later on, those who will build your career in entomology or in the level 4 also you will learn this when individual pest will be taught, and these examples of the parasitoids will be given in the next level. Anyway, so I'm going to next predation. Predation, you know, the which survive predation, which predates, that is, it lives on other organisms. It is not parasitic. It will take the other organisms as food. আমরা ওইখানে দেখেছি যে প্যারাসিটয়েড কিন্তু ওইখানে বাস করে, ওইখান থেকে খাদ্য নেয়, নিয়ে সে বড় হয়। আর প্রিডেটর কিন্তু তা করে না। প্রিডেটর ইজ ওয়ান হুইচ ক্যাচেস এন্ড কনজিউমস দি আদার্স। যেমন একটা হরিণ, হরিণ হলো টাইগারের জন্য একটা প্রিডেটর। টাইগার ইজ এ প্রিডেটর অফ ডিয়ার। তো সে কিন্তু ওই ডিয়ারের উপরে বাস করতে, ডিয়ার খেয়ে বেঁচে থাকতেছে, কিন্তু ইট ইজ এ প্রিডেটর। এইখানে আমাদের ফিল্ডে অনেক ইনসেক্ট আছে, বা যেমন একটা ব্যাং, এ ফ্রগ ইজ এ প্রিডেটর। একটা ফ্রগ কিন্তু বেঁচে থাকে অনেক ইনসেক্ট খেয়ে। একটা লিজার্ড, ঘরে টিকটিকি, টিকটিকি ইজ এ প্রিডেটর, এটা কিন্তু বেঁচে থাকে অনেক ইনসেক্ট খেয়ে। অর্থাৎ এরাও কিন্তু বাঁচতেছে ইনসেক্টের উপরে, বাট দ্য ইনসেক্ট ইজ নট এ হোস্ট। হিয়ার ইট ইজ কল্ড ইনসেক্ট ইজ এ প্রে। Insect which will be killed by the predator is known as a prey. So praying mantid, you have heard the name praying mantid. Praying mantid is an insect which survives not on plant, it survives on other small insects. It catches the other insects, and the other insect is called a prey. So in this case, we can also say there are many predators in nature. The insects are interacting with the predators. The predators populations when will be increased, the pest population will automatically go down. Parasitoid population when will be high in the fields, the pest population will automatically go down. So there is a relationship, numerical relationship or functional response when.
না না ওই কথা জানা যাচ্ছে না।
Okay, so another organism is called pathogen. So what is pathogen?
Predation and predator.
Predator is not clear to you?
So could you please repeat?
Predator. Predator is an organism which lives on other organism, but not by living on, it takes the other organisms as food. যেমন ব্যাং, frog is a predator of insect. এটা frog ওই ইনসেক্ট খেয়ে বেঁচে থাকে, তাহলে frog is a predator. এরকম অনেক ladybird beetle is an insect. It is a predator. Ladybird beetle survives on aphid. Aphid is a prey. Aphid is an insect. Ladybird beetle is an insect. But one is a predator, another is a prey. When the predator population increases, the prey population will go down. কেন? যেন prey খেয়ে predator বেঁচে থাকতেছে। তাহলে মাঠে যদি আমার অনেক predator ছেড়ে দেওয়া যায়, তাহলে দেখা যাবে যে আমার pest population will automatically go down. We can control our pest by using these biological means. These predators, these parasitoids, they are biological control agents. The biological control agents, we know the parasitoid will kill the host by developing its offspring inside the host. The predator will kill the host, kill the prey just by consuming. Directly it catches and consumes. So a ladybird beetle consumes 50 aphids per day. এখন একটা লেডিবার্ড বিটল যদি 50টা অ্যাফিড কিল করতে পারে, তাহলে আমি যদি 10টা লেডিবার্ড বিটল মাঠে আমার থাকে, তাহলে এটা কতটা অ্যাফিড? 500 aphids will be killed per day by 10 ladybird beetles. So these 10 ladybird beetles are called predators. So predators, parasitoids can be used in the fields. I'm coming to the pathogens. Pathogen,
Then
microorganisms. These
predator-
microorganisms have the ability to cause disease. Bacteria, fungus, virus, these are mainly common microorganisms. They have the ability to cause disease. অনেক সময় দেখা যাচ্ছে যে আমাদের ইনসেক্টও কিন্তু ডিজিজড হয়ে মারা যাচ্ছে। আমরা যেমন এখন অনেক সময় মাইক্রোঅর্গানিজম ভাইরাস, করোনা ভাইরাস is attacking us, and some of we are lucky to survive, but many of you are not many. So this type of situation is happening in insects. Sometimes it may so happen the insects which are attacked by the virus, not a single insect will survive. All the insects will be killed, which will be attacked by bacteria. A large number of insects will be killed by the bacteria. So the bacteria is causing disease not only to us. Virus is not causing disease to us. There are some virus, NPV, nuclear polyhedrosis virus. That virus is very important virus for causing disease to insects. Once the insect get diseased, that insect will not survive. So these bacteria, virus, fungus, nematode, all are living organisms. They are living in the ecosystems. The insects are interacting with these living organisms. When these bacteria in population, that is the will be increased, the bacteria, then what can happen? The pest population will go down. In this way, we can use this bacteria, we can apply this bacteria artificially. Bacillus thuringiensis, you have heard the name Bacillus thuringiensis. That is a bacteria which can kill many of the pest insects. So this Bacillus thuringiensis can be applied artificially. Virus can be applied artificially. So this is called biopesticides. Okay. So biopesticides we can apply. These biopesticides are getting familiar nowadays. So they are developed and they are microorganisms living in nature. We can artificially synthesize them, we can artificially multiply them, and we can apply against the field for controlling many of the pest insects. So
Time
these,
শেষ, sir.
time শেষ, I'm also coming to my conclusions. So these are all about our today. I wanted to just tell you some of the biotic factors, effect of biotic factors, mainly the predators, parasitoids, and some living factors which are also helpful, beneficial interactions and harmful interactions. These pathogens, predators, and the are harmful interactions. So thank you very much. I would like to thank. So
অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স কেমনে দেবো স্যার?
অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা কিভাবে তোমরা দিয়ে থাকো প্রতিদিন?
স্যার ওই যে আপনি একটা গুগল ফর্ম দিবেন, সেই ফর্মে আমরা জেনারেলি দেই স্যার।
তাই না?
জি স্যার।
স্যার অলিগোফ্যাগাসটা যদি আবার একটু বলতেন।
অলিগোফেগাস, আচ্ছা অলিগোফেগাস আমরা বলছি যে প্ল্যান্ট ভুক ইনসেক্টকে আমরা বলছি মনোফেগাস, পলিফেগাস, অলিগোফেগাস। মনোফেগাস যে একটা খেয়ে, একটা প্ল্যান্ট খেয়ে, একটা স্পেসিস খেয়ে বাঁচে। অলিগোফেগাস হলো যে অনেক প্ল্যান্ট খায়, কিন্তু সেই প্ল্যান্টগুলো আবার একটা বোটানিক্যাল ফ্যামিলির আন্ডারে। ঠিক আছে, ওই প্ল্যান্টগুলা একটা বোটানিক্যাল, যেমন বলছি যে ক্যাবেজ বাটারফ্লাই, সে ক্যাবেজ খায়, কিন্তু সে ইট ক্যান সার্ভাইভ অন রেডিশ, ইট ক্যান সার্ভাইভ অন মাস্টার্ড, ইট ক্যান সার্ভাইভ অন কলিফ্লাওয়ার, দোজ হু বিলং টু দি সেম ফ্যামিলি। এইরকম হলে তাদেরকে আমরা বলি অলিগোফেগাস। ইনসেক্ট তাদের অনেক ফুড আছে, কিন্তু সেই ফুডগুলো আবার একটা বোটানিক্যাল ফ্যামিলির আন্ডারে। কিন্তু যদি অনেক বোটানিক্যাল ফ্যামিলির আন্ডারে খাদ্য গ্রহণ করে তাদেরকে আমরা বলি পলিফেগাস। পলিফেগাস শুধু অনেকগুলো স্পেসিস, বাট দ্যাট স্পেসিস ডু নট বিলং টু দ্য সেম বোটানিক্যাল ফ্যামিলি। সো টাইম ইজ আপ। অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটাকে দেওয়ার তোমাদের কতজন প্রেজেন্ট আছে আজকে দেখি? 291, 291।
স্যার চ্যাট সেভ করে নিলেই তো হতে হয়।
I will collect it from here. Okay, so thank you very much. I would like to thank you. If you have got some more questions, you can ask me later on, when the university situation or the will be normal. So I will be around. Hopefully, inshallah, you are most welcome to see me and to make it clear. Many things I could not give you the example. If I had the chalkboard and other things, it would have been much better to explain to you, and it would have been easier for you to just understand. Anyway, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
স্যার আপনার ক্লাস কি আজকে শেষ?